You should have seen our Airbnb. It looked like a fucking tornado went through it.
I mean, that's as per usual for you guys.
There's just fucking like bat peens all over the
All
fucking
over.
table. Could you imagine if the Airbnb, like, what are those things? They're peens. Hey guys, welcome back to the Dark Collective podcast with myself, Miss Red, and the ever so luscious, so gorgeous, so everything. Joy is here.
Hello.
Joy, what is on your head? Because everybody wants to know. You know everybody wants it.
Oh, I mean, it's just a beanie with horns, but apparently everyone's really excited about it. So they might be some event exclusive. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
We all love an exclusive. We actually, I mean, we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about Boston, we talk about everything, but we also want to talk to you guys about our lives. Joy and I both just got off 2 crazy book conventions and we are exhausted. Neither one of us have unpacked. That's how great we're doing. But we had a lot of fun. So Joy, you went to the first one. So what tell us about it?
Yeah, I mean, I still have a ball gown in my suitcase, which is probably not ideal, but that's what they make dry cleaners for. It's fine. I loved it. I did love, obviously, all the dress up events. That's always my thing, but the amount of authors I got to meet was really cool. And then to me, my favorite thing about book events, though, was getting to meet people live and in person. Like,
Yeah.
we formed these online relationships with all our book friends, and then when you finally meet them in the flesh, it's just a whole nother level of friendship because it's like you pick up right where you left off, but you're so giddy and excited, which is weird because that's not like the type of person I am. And I think you only get to see that side of me like at a book convention. So I loved it. I thought it was like a super great time in that respect, and it was just so wholesome and genuine, like getting to interact as a reader with your favorite authors.
Oh yeah. And like, who was your favorite author you got to meet?
Oh gosh.
Or like, give us a list of like all the authors that you were just like, I got to fangirl just a smidgen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard. Like, it was really great meeting Holly Renee. Her special edition was beautiful, so I was really excited about that. I think I brought home 40 pounds of books.
Jesus Christ.
So, okay, you fly Southwest, you get 2 bags for free, and that's way cheaper than an overbag limit or shipping books. So, fly Southwest, everyone.
That's actually like, because I flew, when I went out to my book convention, I flew American on the way there. So it cost me $80 because I had 2 check bags, but I flew back Southwest and I was like, whoo, free.
Girl math, free.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what I wasn't prepared for was because the event we went to in Florida last year, compared to the size of this event I went to, I just wasn't prepared. Like, you walk in and it's so different because it's so massive. And this hotel was like a city. Like, the best way I could describe it is if anybody's watched The Walking Dead, that if I had to go somewhere to like live, I would just go to that hotel because it's so massive. And one of the things I absolutely loved, there were so many volunteers and they were everywhere. And when we were setting up the booth, like, I want to say probably like 20 volunteers. Do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help? And we're like, no, we're good. Like, thank you. Like, we're good. And then the last one was like, you need help. And we're like, no, I'm persistent. You need help. And we're like, okay, fold the clothes. Like, it was just kind of funny. And I forget how much fun conventions are. And you're right. Like, I'm always bubbly and loud and I hug everybody if they allow me to. But what I wasn't prepared for was just how kind strangers are. Even if they just walk by the booth. I don't know if you experienced that, but people were just like so excited to see Jenn's shop, the Dirty Laudanum Company. Like, they were so excited to see just bookish stuff. Like, it was so cool. And then the ball was super fun. We went as vampires. Like, it was like glam vampires. And I loved it because we showed up an hour and 10 minutes late. Like, that's standard for us. Yep, that's standard for us.
On brand. Okay.
It's so on brand. But it was really cool because, I actually got to Amber Palmer, one of our close friends as Dark Collective, is really good friends with Holly Renee. Holly Renee actually dedicated her book to Amber Palmer, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I literally saw it and teared up. I was like, oh my God, Amber, what the fuck? Like, that's amazing. And I got to just like sit and have drinks with her, and it was really cool. I only fangirled once. And that was Carissa Broadbent. I literally walked up. I was like, "Hi, I'm Red," and she's like, "Hi, Red. How are you?" I'm like, "So good." I just stared at her because she's so beautiful. I was just like, hey. And like, of course, Rebecca Yaros was at both of our events, and like, I got to see her from a distance, and I was like, cool. I saw Rebecca Yaros. Good.
I met her while wearing shibari. That
Shut
was
up.
that was quite an experience. But yeah, I don't think anyone else can say that. So I've got that.
And I just learned what shibari was from Joy in Boston. Like, because I was like, shibari, is that like sake? Is that like a shot? And she's like, no, red. God. No, I live for these conventions. I'm supposed to go to 2 more this year. Hopefully I do. I'm really excited. But then that's not including Sinners, obviously. Sinners is going to be my third. I'm just really excited because we're going to be there for a week. So that's going to be super fun. And by the time this airs, more announcements will come out. But one of the cool things that I think it was just announced yesterday was the ideas for the tattoos from Elva, which I think is going to be super cool. I was the one who added the earphones with the book because I was like, for audiobook lovers, right? Like, I thought
that's cute.
I love audiobooks. I'm really into
Yeah.
it. All right, you guys. Well, again, Joy and I are going to probably be going to more conventions and talking about it more all the time. So we are super excited for our interview today. Joy, who do we have today?
We have Miss A.L. Maruga.
All right, you guys. So please enjoy Miss A.L. Maruga. Hey guys, welcome back and welcome Miss A.L. Maruga. Hello, my dear.
Hello. Hey, everyone.
Well, we are super stoked to have you on the podcast. We are like, as we're recording this, can you believe it's 12 weeks away till Sinners?
I still don't have a dress, so yeah. I can't believe it because I keep ordering dresses and sending them back.
That's why we love Amazon and all these other brands. Like, it's so easy to return. And Joy is like the queen of this. Like, she did a whole series on it. It was awesome.
I know. I've been watching like all the little accessories and stuff. I'm like, I could do that, and then I'm like, no, I couldn't.
I promise it's not that hard. It's not that scary. You just have to try it on once, and then film yourself, move around. You feel better.
I with my luck, I'll end up looking like Carrie, like covered in blood.
Though, that's still a good vibe. Dark romance ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm here for it.
I know when my PA asked me, she's like, which one are you, Sinners or Stardust? And I'm like, really? You kind of have to ask? Like, I'm going to be the sinner.
When I was like literally looking at your Instagram, I like deep stalked your Instagram. One of my favorite things I found was 45 plus trigger warnings. I was like, my God, that is epic.
I think that we're being not even accurate at this point. We recounted, and I don't have a single book under 45 trigger warnings, but I have lots of books with 55 and plus. And we amalgamated a whole bunch of them to condense them down because, like, Sinner and Sacrifice, if you don't, you're at 72, 75 trigger warnings. Those are big trigger books.
It's so crazy because, like, in our little group, we have like little like nicknames for each other, and like one of the ones that Jen was like, what's a trigger warning? I take them all. And I'm just like, I didn't even know what a trigger warning was a year ago.
I have a long list for you. Everything you possibly imagine is probably on my list.
That's perfection. No, but I love it because they always make fun of me because I'm like the fairy one, like
you're the fantasy,
baby, So I'm very new to dark romance, and I've obviously in this past year with Sinners, I've been dipping my feet in. But Jen's like, you can't read that. You're not allowed to read that. And I'm like, okay. Cool.
Yeah, cool. My books are not for the faint of heart, and I try, like I really do try not to go so dark, and then we start counting triggers, and I'm like, oh my God, that was right. Like I really thought Sacrifice, I'm like, we're not even going to hit like 40 triggers with this one, and then we started counting. I was like, we're in big trouble.
Oh, that's epic. I want to learn so much more. So we are going to go through and ask you some questions. Okay. So let's start out is what genres do you write?
So dark romance, horror romance, I guess, with some thriller elements. Why choose pretty much always. Lots of enemies to lovers. You will never find a book that I write that doesn't have an element of enemies to lovers to it. Gothic, a little bit of everything, but really dark. Like, leave your soul at home. Forget morally gray. We're pitch black.
Oh, I love that. It's so funny because like Jenn just made a shirt that says morally pitch black. And like I honestly do not make fun of me. I was like, is morally pitch black like darker than gray? And she's like, red. Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh. I
It was
have the
like,
hoodie. I love it.
I know. And but the thing is what I like is that you are gorgeous and this tiny little human, and you're just like, it is dark. It is very dark. My books are not for you.
Well, like, and I try to like leave warnings right in the beginning. Like,
No,
please
that's good
run away
though.
from my books because you're not gonna love it. Like, you're gonna be crying by the end of it. And my readers will tell you, like, I am horrific with cliffhangers. I'm brutal with them. I will leave you like completely a mess. I have readers that have broken phones, have broken, Kindles because they've just thrown them because I make them so angry. But I just sit at home and I'm like,
That was like the evilest laugh. That was so good.
I love it. Like, I'll write the trigger warning and then I'll be like, okay. And then I'll write the author's note and I'll be like, okay, I think I've given them enough warning. And then by the end, they're like, oh my God, like this was so dark, so brutal.
I think there's so many readers out there, and I know Joy will pretty much read anything too. Like it's one of those things though. If your book is so good that it makes them throw their Kindle and throw their phone, that's a goddamn winner. Like in my mind, if I want to throw my Kindle because it's that big of a cliffhanger or that big of the just angsty, like damn it, you know what I mean? Like to me, that's a fucking winner.
Well, I want you to come back for the next one. So really don't have a choice with the way I leave books. You either hated the book and never want to see it again, or you're waiting for the next one. And I'm pretty quick with them.
Oh, that's good.
I try not to make readers wait very long because I do leave readers on such brutal cliffhangers. Like, and I hate that when other authors do it to me and I'm reading, I'm like, no, come on. But
no, we were just talking about a series that, I'm going to be reading the last book to end it. It's always the one where you're like, oh yeah, this is the last book. And then like you start reading it and then there's an announcement. There's one more. And you're like, damn it.
Yeah. I try, like, my books are thick. They're bricks. You can do some damage with them. I try to, like, if I'm setting up as a trilogy, that's all you're getting. If there's going to be a spinoff, I'll let you know, like, in advance that there's going to be a spinoff to that series. But I try not to surprise readers with, oh, we got to a third book and I didn't finish the story. Like, I'd rather give you a 500-page book, but I'm going to finish that story. And so far it's worked. So far. I don't know.
All right. So, because you do write so quickly, you just released Be My Sacrifice. So, tell us all about it.
So, Be My Sacrifice is the second one of the Brotherhood of the Sacrament series. It is basically just a little bit of a recap of the first one, but from the guy's point of views. I do multiple point of views. You get a better indication of what was happening at the end of the first book. The first book leaves you on a horrific, brutal cliffhanger. And I wanted to kind of go back because a lot of readers were really upset with one specific character at the end of the first book, like lynch mob. They were ready to just string him up. And I needed to explain a little bit, okay, yeah, he's bad. He's definitely pitch black, but he had his reasons, right? So we start off the book with that. It is basically the in-between, the bridge, everything that you need to know to get you from book 1 to book 3, with lots of plot twists and lots of damage, like emotional damage. It's
like emotional annihilation. Like, we're gonna get you.
Yeah, it's literally one of the most emotionally damaging books I've written. I've never really written where you're basically destroying the characters as you're going, and that's what happens in this book. Like, you're ripping them to shreds. Each one of them has to go through something brutal in order to make it through.
Oh wow. But again, it just, even though like we've learned, like I'm still dipping my feet into dark romance, if books invoke emotion, especially like emotion of want, need, angst, like I'm a big person on angst. I want to read it because I want to be able to be like, oh yeah, I want to throw my Kindle. I want to throw my phone. How dark is he? Like I need to know.
Yeah, well, there's three of them, three males in this book because it is a white
Mhm.
shoes. And they're all pretty strong characters. Like I don't have a cinnamon roll in there. Um, they can hold themselves, like hold each other accountable, but also, be their own entities where you don't need one to kind of bridge to the other. But I also have a super strong female. And she just, she rocks their world. Like she literally keeps them on their toes and takes no crap from any of them. So it's kind of different because I know a lot of white chooses. You have the softer female who kind of keeps the group together.
Mhm.
Mine's not like that. She doesn't care.
I like how you're just like, no, not mine.
No,
No, not here. Not here
yeah,
today, Satan.
yeah. She's like Buffy the Vampire on crack cocaine.
Oh, I love it. Now, I do have a side. Actually, we'll get to that later, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But so specifically because you're doing this trilogy, are you working on anything new? Is it specifically the third book? Or are you doing other things as well?
So, the Queen Serpent came out before Sacrifice,
Okay.
and before that was the Sinner. So, I kind of branch off between books. I try not to write one after the other of the same series because my brain just needs a break from those characters.
Mhm.
And I don't know about other authors, but my characters tend to speak to me and they're loud in my head. So I want them to go away for a little bit. So right now I'm working on Villainous King, which is the final book of the Venom series. And that is like super dark mafia, like kidnap her. Hey, I'm going to break up with you. Okay, so I'll just kidnap you and take you. And, you know, kind of thing. I'm working on that one, and then I'm working on a surprise book, which some readers know about, some don't. And it is going to be my first stepbrother book. So
Ooh.
why choose
Ooh.
stepbrother? And it has MMA in it, so
Ooh.
it's a little bit of
We're all
everything.
for a little bit of a secret being tossed out on the podcast, so that's
There you go.
amazing.
Love that. So where did you find inspiration for writing the Brotherhood of the Sacrament series?
So I'm a big Mark Atwood fan, and I love The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, me too.
Mhm.
And then I became obsessed with Paris Paloma's song last year. Um, and I just kept hearing the two of them. Like I read The Handmaid's Tale, I watched the series, and then that song was on repeat in my head,
Mhm.
just over and over. And I just kept thinking to myself, okay, what if somebody was actually born into that world? Like the world didn't end for them and start again. They were born into it. They hadn't known
Mhm.
anything other than that, but they wanted to fight back. What would happen if a female fought back in a world like that? And that's basically where the idea came from. Was I wanted her to fight back. I wanted her to say, just because this was the circumstances I was born into doesn't mean I'm going to accept it. And I wanted her to be her own hero, but I also wanted her to be the stalker. So we have lots of stalker, books out there, but usually it's a him.
I
I don't
love
want it to
that.
be a
That's like a
her.
twist on a trope, and I love that. Like whenever roles are specifically like, well, dark romance. One of the things I love about it is there's so many authors that write it, but they're all so different, especially in their point of views. So to have
Mhm.
a woman be the stalker, that's such a cool twist. Like I love that.
Yeah, she's the stalker. She's a serial killer for sure. She's definitely a vigilante. But yeah, I wanted that twist. Like I just wanted her to be tough as nails, full of trauma, completely damaged, but just, not lying down and taking it.
I think that's dope though, because I mean
Yeah.
everybody wants a strong FMC, right? But putting it on a like almost like a twist on it, like she's strong, but she's not what you expect. I love
No.
that because it's a shock value, and I always look for a shock value in any series that I read. I want to be like, wait, you know what I mean? So I'm a fan.
Huh.
So you talked about you read The Handmaid's Tale to get your inspiration for the series, but what are you currently reading and why?
So I just actually finished Brooklyn Cross's Kane, and I loved it. It was completely unhinged, just unforgettable, unredeemable. I love when a character doesn't make excuses. Like, they're not trying to be your Prince Charming. They're perfectly happy being the villain. And that just is so inspiring. I love her writing to begin with, but that level of unhinged, I love it. Just, it's completely
Unhinged in the
inspiring.
best way.
That's literally what I was thinking. Like, as a
That's it.
dark collective, as a group, even though Bethany is our cinnamon roll monster lover, we all can agree we love the unhinged. Like, that is it doesn't matter, fantasy or nothing. If you're unhinged, you are our favorite character.
Yeah, it definitely, like, Kane. It's twins in the book, and Brooklyn's written Kane, and then T.L. Hodell's written Abel. I haven't read Abel yet, but Kane's just something else, man. He kind of gives my guys a run for their money, where I'm like, wow, okay, there might be a level of more disturbing than my guys.
You're like, oh, I've got goals now.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, my daughter reads. She's my alpha reader, and she'll read and she'll be like, Jesus Christ, you need Jesus. Like, you need to go to church. This is so bad. And I'll just laugh because when I start a series, I write kind of how much damage I want to do. And what I want to see in there. So, like, I'll write those kinks out, those tropes out, and then I don't plot, but I know, like, hey, we're gonna have some fun with a household item in this book, and I'll just kind of make myself a little note or whatever. But yeah, Unhinged is definitely kind of the direction I like to go. I don't care if they're redeemable. I don't want them to be.
I honestly, because like Joy introduced me to a book about tiramisu, and then someone else, or Jen, introduced me to a book about cookies and cream ice cream, and then Bethany introduced me to a book about mayo. So pretty much we have a list of books where they have ruined food items for us.
So the mayo, I know what you're talking about. I still can't eat mayo. I can't even look at it at the grocery store. I'll pass by and I'll take a picture and I'll send it to her. Like, I'll tag her in, this is your fault. We can't even bring mayo into the house.
Bethany literally just went to the grocery store recently, and she's like, I had to get the squeeze tube mayo because I could not buy the jar. I just couldn't do it.
No, we can't have that in our house either.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when you're not reading or writing, what are some of your other favorite things to do?
I'm a dog mom, so I love spending time with my dogs. I love going for really long walks. We live in a really small town, so to do 5K to the river is nothing. Love walking. Love gardening. Try to grow all my own vegetables. So I kind of start them inside and then I get them outside. I'm a plant mom. Like, we're a forest in this house.
I love that. Plants die when I pick them up from the store. I do not have a green thumb. But Joy has how many dogs do you have, Joy?
I have 3.
Aww.
3. It's too many, max capacity, but I love them all.
Yeah.
I have 2. I have a mom and daughter chocolate shih tzus. They live up to their names. They're little shits. And then I also have 3 rabbits randomly, and one of them is a Flemish giant, so she's 23 pounds as a rabbit.
Oh my God.
Super random.
The size of my small dog.
It's crazy because she's bigger than my dogs.
Is she?
My shih tzus are 12 and 15 pounds.
Oh, I rescue dogs, and my first one's a Portuguese Pandago, which I'd never heard of before. I rescued him, which is a form of a greyhound, but he's ginger. Oh. And he's got like this massive fox's tail. He's just gorgeous. Yeah. And then the small one, she kind of came at Thanksgiving because he was lonely, and we thought, we'll get you somebody. He was perfectly okay without her, but she's a Doberman Chihuahua mix. So the face of a Chihuahua and the kind of skinny body of a Chihuahua, but then the Doberman ears and the Doberman snout and like these gazelle legs, and thinks she's like 100 pounds and she's 20 pounds wet.
I know. I grew up with Rottweilers, so going from Rottweilers to Shih Tzus was a big shift. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so tiny. Okay, so you talked about some of your characters in your books and how morally pitch black they are, but do you have a favorite character?
If you had asked me 6 months ago, I probably would have told you Dina from the Brotherhood
Mhm.
series. And then I wrote the Queen Serpent and kind of fell in love with Izzy. And she's not my usual female character. She's kind of soft. I rewrote that book 3 times,
Oh wow.
30,000K, the first 30,000K 3 times, because I was trying to make her stronger than she was, and it didn't work. She's just so fractured, so damaged, and has so much to work through that I think because of that, and I can relate to that, she actually became my most favorite character to write. Just because there's so much growth from the very beginning of the book to the very end of the book. You see, an escalation of her um, improving on herself, her own self-worth, like finding her own power. And because of that, I really have fallen in love with her. Whereas, at the beginning I was like, come on, give me something. Like we can't be weak, but it
Mhm.
works for her. And because it works for her, I think that character shows the most growth.
Oh, nice. And I have a side question to that. So I've actually never asked this question, but I always wonder it. How do you choose some of your names for your characters? Like, is it family people? Like, do you subliminally put it in? Like, I always wondered that.
Um, With the Cashberry Prep series, I just kind of picked random names.
Mhm.
With the Brotherhood, they're all religious names, so that they're
Okay.
all names that you would find in the Old Testament.
Oh.
Because there is that religious secret society,
Mhm.
I kind of wanted to just tie into that. Um, Izzy, the Queen Serpent is a spin-off of Cashberry. So those characters were already introduced in
Got it.
Cashberry, so they kind of had to stay.
Mhm.
The other project that I'm working on, which is Triple Dare You, which is the stepbrother one, I actually have my readers voting for names. I
Oh,
only
Oh, that's
have
cool.
female lined up, and I'm letting them kind of run with them, letting my group kind of pick, their male characters. Like, what do you want? And I just tell them, like, one of them's got to be a C, one of them's got to be a W, and let them figure it out, what they'd like to see and kind of make it work. I'm not, particular with names, but I do slip in little things that if you're a Canadian, you'll find in my books. All of their last names of every character is a Canadian city.
oh, cool. See,
So if
this is
you're a
why
Canadian,
I need to ask this question more because that's just so cool.
yeah, I just kind of I figured if there's Canadians amongst my readers, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, like those are all
They're gonna
Canadian
find that.
cities.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for that. I always think about that question when I'm done recording and I'm like, ah, and I was like, I'm not going to forget it this time.
Yeah. So, do you enjoy writing series or standalones better?
I've only written one standalone, and I loved writing it because there was a beginning and there was an immediate end. Like there was
Hmm.
no having to stretch the story or to keep the story, in your head and make sure that you make enough notes to carry over to the next story. I don't plot, so I literally sit down at the laptop and go, okay, what are we doing? And people will say to me, I can't wait to find out what happens in book 3. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I have no idea what either. I'm in the same boat. I don't know because I don't plot.
Hmm.
So I just kind of run with whatever the characters want to do. But I did enjoy writing the standalone, and I'm kind of hoping to do more standalones. I
Hmm.
write really big books, so um, sometimes it's not possible to tell that story.
Hmm.
Um, and
Hmm.
I choose is hard as a standalone.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to have that in the standalone. It's
Yeah.
hard because so many of our authors write so many series, and I'm trying to read one book from every author. And then I'm like, great, you wrote a great book, and now there's a cliffhanger, and I have to read the next book. Like, there's just
Yeah.
not enough standalones for me to hit this goal.
It's
Yeah.
like our TBR as the Dark Collective is massive. And we're all trying to read one book from every single author, but it's just like Joy said, it's like we're literally like, oh my God, did you read this? Yeah, read. That's a 5-book series. I'm like, damn it. You know what I mean?
I'd like to tell you that the sacraments are going to be done before, but I don't think it will.
Oh, that's okay. But that's the thing though, is if I read that book and literally makes me want to throw my Kindle, then I'm going to be stoked out of my mind because I, for me, I'm all about world building. I love world building in books. And I'm getting out of the fantasy and I'm going more into dark romance because that's what all of this is about. And one of the things that I want is I want that like almost like anxious feeling when you're reading it, like, oh God, what's going to happen? Oh God, oh God. It's like when you're watching a real horror film, like you're waiting for the jump scare. You're waiting for that instantaneous, like, oh my God, I'm going to be sick. What's going to happen? Because like that to me, it provokes emotion. And that's so big when it comes to me, when it comes to reading these books and getting to know the authors as well.
Yeah, plot is important. Like if you want to tell a good story, yeah, you need the spice, absolutely, and it needs to be unhinged spice, but you need a plot. Yeah, but it's
I love that you called it a flavor. Like, and that's what made me giggle. I was like, oh, I love that. Unhinged spice. It's a new trope. Like, great. Oh,
how unhinged can we go? We can go pretty
we can go
unhinged.
pretty unhinged. Oh, that's awesome. So, I mean, first of all, I don't even know this. How long have you been writing?
I released my first book in November of 23, 22, 22. So
22.
I'm 17 months in on my
Wow.
writer's journey, and I've put out 7 books in 17 months.
That is incredibly
Holy cow.
impressive. Wow. I honestly think out of all the interviews I've done, you're our newest writer. But since you just started, so, originally I wanted to ask you, what advice would you have given yourself in the beginning? Do you have advice you would give yourself in the beginning because it was just a couple years ago? Or is there something that you now know that you wish you would have known in the beginning?
Absolutely. Figure out the marketing. The writing is not the hardest part. And I know when I heard that myself before, I was like, yeah, right. The writing is hard. It's not. It's the writing will come naturally to you because you're a storyteller and you want to tell the story. The marketing, there's nothing natural about marketing yourself, marketing your books, trying to figure out the marketing and getting the marketing plan down. That's probably the hardest part. I wish I had taken marketing courses and just had a better plan for marketing because I love the writing part, but I don't love the marketing part.
I mean, Joy and I both can attest to that. I mean, we created an event that literally was created through social media marketing. Like we literally
Yeah.
threw up CapCut edits and random information flyers. We were like, cool.
Yep.
We hope
You
people
guys are all
sign up.
Boston,
Yeah.
like handing out flyers in the beginning and going to colleges and info boards, and we're like, cool, can we put a flyer, staple it up, and let's
Yeah.
go.
I
Trying
think that's
anything we could.
amazing.
We went to book signings. We all got on our own personal TikToks, like
Yeah.
personal Instagrams, and just like did our best. And like people say it's so crazy because when I talk to older authors, not even authors, just older people in general, like, and I tell them you can literally make an entire business through social media. They're like, no, you can't. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's
Well,
just it's annoying because the algorithm changes so much and Instagram's constantly throwing stuff out like, oh, we're going to do this now and oh, we're going to do that now. But I again, I deep dived your Instagram and it makes my heart very, very happy when I see a beautiful aesthetic. And your Instagram is such a beautiful aesthetic. It tells a story and I'm obsessed with it. So I just
oh,
wanted to
thank
kudos
you.
to you for that.
It was kind of messy in the beginning because I was just throwing stuff in there. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just gonna throw whatever. But I've kind of found my groove now. I think I gravitate towards certain images and certain colors, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be your pastel girl. I'm never gonna be your like overly flowery girl. It's pink is not me. So I just kind of stick to what I gravitate to, and I hope it appeals to readers, and I hope I find my readers that way. I try to be as authentic as I can with it. I'm just, an awkward Canadian girl that loves coffee and her dogs and smut.
I love that. That's a great.
I hope that comes across.
That's so good. So, talking about things that you love, I saw that you're a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So, we gotta know, are you Team Spike or Team Angel?
Always Team Spike.
Oh,
Always.
I
Right
love.
answer.
Yeah.
See,
She would
for
have said
me,
that
because
well.
I'm old, I thought it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. So like I automatically like went there.
I watched that movie too. I'm 45, so
Oh, you look amazing.
I'm in that, you know, my kids are 20 and 25 and I'm
What?
45. So I've watched it all, right? And
You want to
yeah,
know
he
what's
was
funny is they all call me Mima and I'm 40. So it's just like, I'm like, you know what? There are other people on here. Whatever. It's fine. But it's just like,
you know
I
what?
make, go ahead.
You live again at 40.
Oh
You
yeah.
kind of your whole mentality changes at 40. You no longer care what anyone else thinks or wants or whatever. You're just going to do your own thing. And I think
Yeah.
it's great.
It's funny because when I make references to certain movies, Bethany especially, because Bethany is 24, I believe, like she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get it. She's like, "What's that from?" And I'm like, "Empire Records," and she's like, "Never heard of it." I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Sugar."
You know, I totally get it. My daughter's 25, and I think 2 years ago she heard Notorious B.I.G. for the first time, and she's like, "Oh, that's my jam," and I'm like, "That's you on the radio." I'm like, "Is it?" I was in high school when that came out. I've been jamming to that for over 25 years.
I'm like, you guys, we as a group are an age gap trope. Like, there's so many references that like I will use, and they'll be like, "What?" I don't
Yeah.
get it. And it's crazy because I do hair. So it's like my clients, I look at them as 11, year olds, you know, because they're 18, 19, 20 mainly. And I'm just like, cool, 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 cool. You don't know anything I'm saying. No, Bible. I'm like, oh God. Oh God. So, well, first of all, we're super excited to have you at Sinners. I think that you are just the perfect fit. But for you, what are you most excited about for Sinners and Stardust?
I'm in a totally fangirl when I'm there. You know, the thought that I'm going to run into people that I've read and loved, like Lauren, she better be ready for me to tackle her to the ground because it's 100% going to happen. I'm super excited to also be a reader, not only an author, but be a reader at this event because I love the majority of the authors that we do have coming. I'm also super excited to meet authors that I talk to on a daily basis, but have never met in person. So it's like your besties that you've never really got to meet, but you know, you do your chats and you do your video calls and all that stuff, but you've never actually met them in person. So I'm really, really looking forward to that and the party. Like I want to meet the readers. For me, it's a whole experience. Readers and you know, you get a ball out of it and it's what more could
That's
you
what we're excited about. Like, we're really hoping a lot of the authors want to come to the ball and like mingle and mix with the readers. Because I think it's just such an authentic experience when you get to actually be with your people.
Yeah. I'm a Halloween girl. It's my favorite time of year.
Me too.
So I think that's why I'm having the hardest time finding a dress because, you know, there's a theme and I'm like, I want that theme. I want to do something dark.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the ball, but I'm most excited about the author meet and mingle because it is like a safe place for all the authors to meet, get to know each other, you know what I mean? But then they also get that benefit of the ball as well, where they get to meet, mingle, and with the readers, you know? So you're getting like the best of both worlds, which I think is really dope. Sorry, I'm from NorCal, so dope and awesome and hella are like my verbiage. But you can curse on here. It's explicit. But no, I agree with you. Like I, you know, just went to an event recently and I was really good about out fangirling over a lot of authors. And then I got to my last one and I was like, hey,
yeah.
It's really nice. I
That
got
was
really awkward.
me. That was me in Little Rock. I was like across the hall from Selena.
Oh yeah.
And I've read everything she's ever put out. And I was like, I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be cool. I'm going to go get a special edition book. I'm going to be cool. And then I approached her table and just started crying like an idiot, right? She must have thought I was like a psycho. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And it was crazy to not only be able to meet her in person, get her to sign a special edition to me, but later on get to hug her and, have drinks with her. It was just surreal. It was amazing. So I'm looking forward to readers, meeting new readers that
Mm-hmm.
maybe have never picked up a book of mine, have never heard of me, and maybe giving them an opportunity to, like something that I've got out or to be curious about it. And I'm definitely interested in, meeting other authors and, seeing their experiences. I want to hear about their experiences, and we only grow if we share
Mm-hmm.
kind of experiences. So I'm looking forward to all of it.
Oh, I love it. And I can't wait to see what you wear because I know it's going to be epic. I love because like we've had a few authors tell us, what they want to wear, but they haven't found it yet. And when we interviewed Tracy from Fire Drake, the very first thing she said was she was like, I want to look like a fucking star. And I'm just like, perfect.
Yes.
Like, so when you say you love Halloween, like your shit is going to be dark and it's going to be amazing and it's going to be vampy. And I'm just going to be like, look at A.L.
Yeah,
Maruka.
I'm like the total Halloween nerd. Like I will do it top to bottom, and I have an idea of what I want, and I keep ordering stuff, and I'm like, it's not hidden the way I want it to hit.
Well, we can definitely give you some side notes on where to shop. Joy has like a list in her head. So we
I
will
want
definitely
it. Send it to me. I would
Mm,
love it.
we're going to do that. All right, my dear. Well, we are all done. And on behalf of myself, like I am so excited to have met you. I can't wait to see you at Sinners. And I can't wait to read a book that has over 50 triggers.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and I cannot wait to see what you wear to the ball.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, me too. So, my dear, how do we find you on socials?
So I'm author A.L. Maruga on TikTok and A.L. Maruga author on IG. Facebook, I've got the Queen's Lair. So if you just look up A.L. Maruga's Queen's Lair, that's my Facebook group. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on Threads under the same name as IG. And that's pretty much it. Have quite a few Pinterest boards up with every book. So if you're interested about what the inspirations are, each book and each series has their own Pinterest board, so you can go take a look, and that's under A.L. Maruga as well.
That's so cool. Never had anyone say they have Pinterest boards. That's dope.
I do. I love inspiration. I get inspiration from pictures and movies and, music, all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's cool. Well, I know you have a little something for the listeners. So, what is it?
I do. So for Sinners and Stardust only, I'm giving away 2 signed paperbacks, one of Be My Sinner and the other one of Be My Sacrifice. And they come with a whole backpack of goodies. So you get a backpack and you get filled with goodies too. So it's like a big book box. And in order to be eligible, you have to be in the Sinners and Stardust Facebook group. And you have to like Sinners and Stardust. You have to follow them on Instagram, and you have to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And we're going to get the collective to actually pick a winner.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yay.
And
I
that's
love it.
awesome. And they'll be able to pick it up at Sinners, right?
Yeah. So if they're attending Sinners and Stardust, I'll have it at my table for them so I can give them a hug and take a picture with them. And if they're not, then I will ship it to them.
That's so cool. Well, again, my dear, thank you so much. And to you guys, thank you so much for tuning in with Miss A.L. Maruga. Make sure you tune in to the Dark Collective podcast every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We are everywhere. And I highly recommend you watch this on YouTube if you're listening, because A.L. Maruga's backdrop is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.